Starting. Here we go. Okay. The first episode of, what did we say we're gonna call it?
The Cosmic
Oh yeah,
Theater.
the Cosmic Theater. Yes, the Cosmic Theater podcast, where I basically present myself as a character, and then I speak to other characters. I host other characters on this cosmic stage to see how everyone's keeping up their act. Okay, are you keeping up your act? How's your act? What's been happening? Are you changing characters anytime soon? So I'm very excited, and as you can see, it's very shitty quality, and it probably will be like that for a while because I'm not getting a new laptop anytime soon. First of all, I would like to give a huge shout out, love, thank you from all angles of my heart, the perpendicular one, the parallel one, to our Patreons who have inspired the unfolding of this podcast. Okay, just seeing the initial amazing support upon launching Patreon from you guys really inspired me to do all these new things we're doing here, like the live stream and now the podcast. So thank you very much. And if you would like to be one of those sweet children that are supporting this podcast on Patreon, you can do so somewhere down below. Just look in the description, in the comments as well. So mwah, here's a big kiss for you guys and for everybody else. Mwah. Okay, so our first guest today is a friend of mine. Ali Kanan is his name in Arabic, and then we'll just say it for the ease of pronouncing. Ali Kanan. So just call him Ali. Ali, what's up, my man?
What's up, man?
Good, man. I'm excited to do this with you. I'm excited to have you as the first guest here.
Oh well, man, it's definitely an honor. It's definitely an honor, man.
Okay, man.
It's yeah, it's exciting, and I'm glad that you chose me as the first character in
you're gonna be a
cosmic theater that we're playing in.
So we were talking about microdosing. So you said you microdosed today, and tell me about that.
Well, yeah, I've been experimenting with microdosing for a while now. I would say a bit over a year, maybe. And to say that it's life changing is not an exaggeration. Although, like, you also realize everything is a tool. You use it or it uses you, so you might sometimes get carried away with it and stuff. So there was like an experimentation phase in the beginning, but after you start developing a relationship with it, and you start to understand it more, it becomes much better. Yeah.
Right. I think of it like I used this analogy yesterday in the live stream, and I think I used it in another video that's coming up. I like to think of the microdosing as the salt and the pepper that you put on any food, like on, let's say, plain rice, right? So you have plain rice, and plain rice is the existence of like being a human being. Now, for most of us, it's worse than plain rice. Let's face it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say your experience is plain rice. The microdose would be the equivalent of salt and pepper. And so that salt and pepper is going to make the experience a little better, maybe a lot better. However, there is still the experience, which is the plain rice. And now, here's the thing. If the experience was already so good, you wouldn't really need the pepper and the rice to begin with. And I admit that, my experience of life isn't exactly wow to the point where I don't need the pepper and the salt. I'm using microdosing because I need some pepper and I need some salt.
Right. And everybody uses their own version of salt and pepper, right? It's just that there's a certain, here's what I've realized about everybody, right? We're always trying to state change. Right? I think like realizing that for myself was like a big epiphany for me. I was like, you know, as I just got older and older, I realized like everybody's just trying to state change. You know, they're waking up in the morning, having their cups of coffee, they're going to work and you know, doing whatever, and then at the end of the night they drink. They're always trying to state change. They don't feel good, you know, so they text somebody. Everybody's just trying to change to feel good, right? They're trying to change their state.
Right.
Um, it's just that certain state changes have been accepted by everybody because everybody does them, and then certain ones haven't because you know.
Well,
Uh,
you know, alcohol is the most obvious one. Like I with my entire university years, and you know, for me, the first 3 years, I was totally asleep. Totally asleep. I
right.
was your average kid on the block, totally asleep. Okay.
Hmm.
So I used to go out every weekend and drink, and I thought, you know, at that time, so did everybody, that that is the most natural thing anybody would do in society, in the
Right.
society that I'm in, which is let's just go out. Oh, it's Friday nights. It's like
Hmm.
it's an assumption. Okay,
Yes.
it's not even like are we getting drunk tonight, guys? It's like what are we drinking? That's the
R-
question.
right.
Okay? It's an assumption, and you know if you look at the statistics over and over, alcohol is the most harmful drug to self and others.
Yes.
Consistently shows up as the number one, and yet it is the most normal, natural, and let me say this, promoted. Have you seen those commercials on, like the beer commercials on TV?
Yes.
Man, if you want to drink beer,
Right? They just
yeah,
show people having a good time and you know, they don't show any of the consequences, anything like that. They just, you know, and well, that's how all commercials work. Like, you know, it's marketing. Part of me gets it, you know, is that like, you know, they'll show two guys laughing and then they'll put like vodka. It's like, okay, we didn't say vodka makes you laugh, right? We just we were that's what we're saying, you know. So yeah, it's like we were it's almost like all these commercials, they're like doing this implicit thing and uh without really saying it, you know what I mean? Like they're just putting up pictures here and there, and you know, a picture says 1,000 words, so they just put up the pictures and then let you like, what do you think, right?
right, right. The marketing plays on your programming as a human being. So
Of course, on your
they would
subconscious,
look
big
at,
time.
yeah, they would understand how the human being is programmed. I mean, we are but a mind body complex. That's, I mean,
Yes.
a human being. And if you want to
Yes.
look at where the soul is actually outside of time and space. It is outside of the programming of this, let's call it nature package. So
Right.
all these marketing people and companies and executives, etc., they want to understand how is this human thing programmed, what are some of the things in which it's programmed, in which it responds, because it is a response mechanism. Like if
Hmm.
you have a picture of a really hot girl with big titties and big ass, you're a response mechanism. And if you're an 18-year-old with raging hormones, the response mechanism would be an instantaneous boner. Okay,
Right.
right? So then the marketing would try to understand how this response mechanism works, and then they would try to play on that, and then boom, you're hooked.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And everybody just accepts it. You know what I mean? Nobody questions what we're doing or anything. It's you're just bombarded with this information, and before you know, it's part of your programming, it's part of your subconscious, and it's affecting how you see people, and it's affecting your self-image too, right? Which keeps the system going, and that's what capitalism runs on.
And you know what sucks? Like I did pick up for some time, picking up
Hmm.
chicks. But I looked at it exactly like I would look at like selling myself as a salesman. For me, that was my experience
Right.
of it. Probably because I was so brainwashed by the all the sales tactics that sort of
Hmm.
I started to see it as like, okay, today I'm going out and I'm gonna talk to 10 chicks, and
Right.
I'm just gonna try and close one, like get her number.
Right.
So I started to look at them as goods, as objects. Okay?
Right.
And then it became
Right.
like a closing, like it's just like you would deal with like like you worked in Good Life, right?
Right.
Or
Yes.
I don't know, I don't think you're working there. Are you still working there?
No, 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 I'm not there
No, you're not
anymore.
working there anymore. So you work
Yeah.
in Good Life, and the way you treat your customers is like, okay, we are gonna try and close, say, 1 in 5,
Yeah.
and
It's just a number. It's sales. Like you
it's
gotta close
this,
it. Yeah.
right? So then what happened to me is like this beautiful thing called love, called relationship, called like two souls in a human body, just like experiencing this moment,
Right.
became simply like a closing thing. Like I would go out and I'd be like, okay, today we gotta close one. We gotta
Yeah.
get one number today.
Right.
It's hilarious. It's really hilarious now that looking back at it. It's like, that's how deep the programming goes. Because
Yes.
there's a saying that I heard from Ram Dass. His teacher would tell him, if you wear shoe leather, the entire earth is made of leather. Okay, so
Mm.
basically if you see something as what can I get from you, then pretty soon you're gonna start to see everything in your life in relationship of what can I
What
get
can I
from
get
you.
from you? Right. Right. Yes, that makes a hundred like total sense. And well, sexual energy as well on that pickup topic is the most powerful energy, right? So that's where the whole programming is like run on. You know, it's like okay, let's trigger their insecurities, and or if not their insecurities, just their desire for sex, right? So
Right, right.
let
And,
me ask you,
go ahead.
say something. Okay, I wanted to ask you what broke you out of that. You were in this pickup cycle,
Psychedelics.
and you were caught up in the consumerism.
Psychedelics. Like as soon as you ask, that's it. Like,
Right,
boom, boom, psychedelic.
right. Yes, yes, man.
Psychedelic for sure.
Yes. I think that's the biggest thing that psychedelics did for me is that, and you don't have to do psychedelics to realize this. You can just listen to us,
Or
or not
like,
necessarily us, anybody else that has figured out the secret. They don't even have to have done the psychedelics, right?
that's true. Like for us, we grew up in the West for most of our life.
Yeah.
So in a way, I think the psychedelic was necessary for us because the
Yes.
programming of the consumerist,
Yes.
materialistic, capitalistic culture is so ingrained that it took something drastic, because desperate times call for desperate measures. So the desperate
Exactly.
times, the desperate programming called for the desperate measure, which is the interference of the psychedelic.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. Um. So yeah, the West needed that, and even if you don't grow up in the West is what has the most influence on the world, right? So even if you're in the Middle East, you're what you're consuming is the Hollywood media and all that stuff. So there's still a lot of programming from there. Anyways, the secret that I had realized basically from psychedelics is that happiness is peace and not pleasure, right?
Happiness is peace and not pleasure.
Yes,
Hmm.
because you can you know what you can have you know uh, 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 20 bitches lined up and eat a big tub of ice cream and all that stuff, but if you're not present there to even take that in,
Right,
it
right,
means nothing to you.
right, right. Also, pleasure is part of the duality of pleasure and pain. So anything that is sort of on the polar end of things, because peace is out, by the way, peace is outside the duality, contentment is outside of the duality.
Mm,
What's the other side of contentment? I guess the satisfaction. So maybe there is still a duality to it. Maybe I'm wrong there, but pleasure is a sensation. So
Right.
it's a fleeting. It's a fleeting sensation. Meaning, the minute you have orgasm, within 5 minutes, you're already looking for your next rush.
Right.
You're already looking
Right.
for your next rush. So that's why often people will go and grab food or something because
Well, hopefully the orgasm is better than that.
I hope so. I hope so.
It lasts longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah. So you see,
But yeah, you're right.
right away, people
It's
look for the
fleeting.
next
Everything is
rush.
fleeting.
Let's go get food. Let's go grab a movie. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Yes.
And it's like you at some point, like you just say until when,
Right.
when am I gonna keep chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing like you're chasing. By the way, I'm sorry to break it down to all of you guys, but so as long as we're chasing that, we're chasing a mirage. We are chasing a mirage, and a mirage by default is an illusion. So it cannot wet a grain of sand in the desert. A mirage cannot
Right.
wet even a grain of sand in the desert because it's a mirage. It doesn't exist. It's an illusion.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
So all these fleeting moments of pleasure, of pleasurable sensations, they're fleeting moments, and the key isn't to stop experiencing pleasure. The key is to not be attached to having to
Yes.
experience pleasure. So meaning, if let's say you're driving in the middle of traffic and you're bored as fuck, you're bored out of your mind, you're frustrated, and you're like, I just want to go home and I just want to eat, I'm hungry. Now see, you're attached to pleasure, you're attached to comfort, and that's what's causing you suffering in the middle of that traffic. So it is
Yes.
not stopping the experiencing of pleasure, but it is the inevitable attachment that arises from our constant craving to experience pleasure. So it's not about the pleasure or stopping the pleasure, because pleasure will be there and you will continue to experience it. Even if you starve yourself to death and you renounce the world, at some point you're going to have to eat, and there will be a little bit of pleasure in there.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So it's not about stopping pleasure. Even when the Buddha, he did the whole ascetics thing and he starved himself, he's like, this is unhealthy. But it's about not being attached to the sensation of pleasure.
Yes. 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 That's everything, right? A lot of people think that, like, oh, you're spiritual now. You're gonna go in a cave and not live life and not, try to make something and that's not what it is. It's you still. Ram Dass has a thing. You carry wood. You chop trees and carry wood or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Before Satori, this is a common adage in Zen Buddhism. Before Satori, carry wood, or chop wood and carry water. After
Chop
Satori,
wood and carry water. That's it.
chop wood and carry water.
Yeah, you still got to do what you got to do, but it's the place that it's coming from, right? Emerson said it's not the action, but it's the sentiment that it precedes, right? It's
Yeah.
like, is it coming from oh, I need this now, and because I'm so frustrated and I have this itch within myself that I can't sit with myself, or is it just you're going for the pleasure because it's an added bonus, if you will,
Because it's
right?
there. It's as simple as
Because
that.
it's
I
there.
think because
Yes.
it's there. You're because it's there, because you're hungry and you gotta eat.
Yes.
Because
Exactly.
it's there. Because
Exactly.
it's not even. It's just because it is the experience of the moment. The moment requires you to experience some pleasurable sensations.
Right. Right. It is there. It's like you know. It's like, why not? Why not experience it, right? Because it's there. Just for the fact that it's there, honor it. And if you have that desire, it's okay. You give away to your desires till
Till they fall
till
off.
till they fall off.
Because they fall
Exactly.
off on their own. It's like you can't really do much about it. You're kind of stuck with your desires.
Yes. 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 We talked about this before, about the guy that comes into university and doesn't drink and doesn't do anything, and just follows the well, trod path on everything that he's supposed to do, right? That society and his parents have told him that this is what you are supposed to do. So he follows that path and then gets married, and it's on to the next thing, and then has children, and then one day he's 40, and then he's like, shit, like, I'm there and I did everything that they said, but I still feel this. So all of a sudden, midlife crisis, all this stuff, comes, and then now they want to drink, and now they want to explore things that they didn't explore when it was the time for them, when it was younger. Not to say that at 40 it's not the time for them. It's still the time for them. I'm just saying that that's basically the cause of like midlife crises and all that. Midlife crisis is a good thing. It's a shock to wake up.
It's a form of ego dissolution, because ego dissolution is basically the storyline of who you thought you were is crumbling right before your eyes, and that's what a midlife crisis is you thought it was going to be good. You thought, you're going to be 40 years old, you're going to have one of those really badass trucks that you see in the commercials. You thought you're going to be that badass cowboy, driving in the beautiful sands and really, really like feeling good, but it didn't turn out to be that way, right? It didn't turn out to be that way.
Yeah. Right? So you almost feel like, what? I've been lied to, and I've been, but it's like, who are you gonna go after, right?
Yeah.
You realize that at 40 years old, who are you gonna go after? You've got nobody to. Are you gonna go after society? Who are you gonna go after? So.
Well, yeah, you got nobody to go after but your mind, basically.
Yes.
I wouldn't even say yourself. I would just say your mind.
100%. 100%.
The mind is not yourself, but that's what you're dealing with right now. You're dealing with the mind. So your mind.
Yes.
This mind that you're in right now, that's what you've got to deal with. As it turns out, everything is in your mind, including this physical existence. This is an illusion, and science is always lagging behind what the ancient mystics already knew. Basically, science is catching up with simulation theory now, but essentially, this is just zeros and ones. It's a simulation. It's a mirage. It's an illusion. It isn't really even physical, as it turns out. It isn't even physical. It's all
everything is just a projection of the mind, is what you're saying?
Well, it's very easy to conceive of. When you're in the dream, there is here and there is there, right? Like you're here. Let's say you and I are in a dream, right?
Yes.
And you see me in a dream. There is you in a dream, and there is I in a dream. But you wake up, and guess what? It's all happening in your head.
Right.
So this is the same thing here.
Yes.
There's me right now here. There's this laptop, and there's your picture. But that's all happening in my head.
Right.
Because I'm aware of here, and I'm aware of there. So it's all within my awareness.
Right.
Because the very fact that I can point here and there means I'm aware of here and I'm aware of there. So it's all in my head. It's all just right here in my mind.
Everything is just a projection of the mind. Right.
Yeah, everything's a projection of the mind. So as it turns out, it is the mind that we've got to do the work on, and not instead of changing the external circumstance, it changed the internal circumstance.
True. Everything, they say your outer world is just a reflection of your inner world, right? Yeah. So people think like, oh, I need another job, or I need this, or I need that. You might, and I've also realized, like, some people can get sucked into the inner world too. So there is a balance of both, right? It's like you're playing a basketball game, right? It's like, oh, I gotta focus on defense. It's like, no. When it's time for defense, you focus on defense, and when it's offense, you go and try to score a basket, right? Everything is a projection of the mind, and everything is an internal work, and the outer world is a reflection of just the inner world. But that doesn't mean that you don't try to change the outer world if the circumstances are right, But realize that there's another factor, which is a much bigger factor, which is your inner world, right? It's more probably you than your your annoying girlfriend, your lousy job, anything like that.
I find if you do some inner changes, the outer changes automatically. You don't really have to do much about it. Like
Yes.
your actions will sort of reflect what has, like for example, if you are sick of your job and you want to change it, uh, if you go inwards and you find, say, what you're passionate about in life is, naturally, as a byproduct, your external action will be to eventually quit your job and do something else.
Yes.
Start to pursue your passion, or start to pursue it on the side or something.
Right.
So
Right.
you see, like, if you do the inner, don't worry about the outer, because the outer is just a manifestation, as above, so below.
Yes.
The outer is a manifestation of the inner. So if
Right.
we go to the root, if we can go to
Mhm.
the root of the tree and make it stronger, then the tree
Right.
will grow bigger and it will be there for a longer period. It will just
Right.
sustain itself longer.
Right.
And the growth will just sort of happen naturally. It's programmed. It'll just
Okay.
respond to the strength of the roots. So in the
Yes.
same way, like if you go inwards and you say, okay, well, what do I want to do with my life? What is my passion? If you
Mhm.
focus on the light as opposed to the darkness, instead of focusing on, I hate my job, focus on, what do I love to do?
Yes.
And then your external act, which will eventually be to quit your job and do something else, will naturally, uh, as a result,
Follow.
happen.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's Tony Robbins has this thing where he says, like, where attention goes, energy flows. It's Hello.
Yeah, hello, hello. Yeah, we're still on. We're still on. It was a little bit of lag.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. It's everything is inner, as above, so below. So let's talk about this. What are some tools then to go inwards and find out? Go to the root. Right.
There's a lot of them. I'm not gonna say psychedelics because I only think you should do psychedelics when you're ready for them, and you'll know
Yes,
when you're
and
ready
it's
for it.
one of
So,
many. It's
yeah,
one
it's
of
one of
many.
many, and I'm kind of more cautious about saying psychedelics now as
Yes.
my earlier days, because it can be dangerous, man. Because uh, you know, we'll go back to your question about the tools.
Yes. Yes.
But I'm learning right now about the 31 planes of existence. This is from Buddhism, and very much related to Hinduism. And there are basically like many different levels, 31 of them. Below us, the level of humans, there's the level of ghosts, and the level of titans, and the level of animals, and the level of hell. And all these different planes of existence are basically full of suffering and turmoil. The human realm is a mix of both. So a lot of times when people go experiment with psychedelics and they have bad trips, it's because they're visiting those realms, because they haven't done enough preparations not to go down to those realms.
Uh,
Okay, so
mhm.
that's something everybody has to be aware of. That's why adequate preparation is key. So now back to your question. I sound like an old uncle now that's like preaching all kinds of cautions about psychedelic,
Yeah. Yes.
you know. But I'll
Hey
throw
man, we're all uncles to somebody, right?
yeah,
Like,
I'll throw them
yeah,
in as
we're
much as
all gonna be uncles. Yeah.
so back to your question about tools. So uh, because it's hard to separate the mind and the body, and they shouldn't really be, because everything is one. Uh, let's start off with cold showers, because there's something about cold showers. Like today, I worked out and I jumped into the cold shower, and I wasn't, I usually microdose and I get the giggles or whatever.
Mhm.
So to me, the giggles is a sign of I advanced to a higher level, a higher state. But I didn't get the giggles
Right.
today. But I got the giggles after a cold shower, because the cold shower took me from whatever plane of consciousness I was and upgraded me into this higher consciousness where it's all jokes and humor, and it's a higher state of consciousness. So
Yes.
cold showers, it's very simple. You just have to jump into cold water for 5 minutes. Will take
Mhm.
you, if you're, let's say, in hell, it'll take you to the ghosts, which is still bad,
Yes.
but at least you jumped up. If you're in the
Yes.
ghost realm, it'll take you to the animal realm, or the animal's lower.
Right.
It'll take you to the human realm. If you're feeling neutral, you'll feel good. If you're feeling good, you'll feel fantastic. So this
Right.
is, I say cold showers because it's so easy. Anybody
Yes.
can do it. Anybody watching this, you can just go after watching the podcast and make sure you watch the podcast till the end. Um, then you can jump into the cold shower and boom, your level of consciousness will upgrade. Wherever you are right now, it will upgrade up a level or a few levels even.
And this is not just like on the spiritual sense. Like there's science that backs this up, right? For those obsessed with the rational mind and the Western world, it's like, you know, it's known that when you put a cold shower on the base of your neck there, it triggers they call it, I believe, the mammalian dive reflex. So
Interesting.
if you're ever stressed out, anything, just go under a cold shower, put some water there. It's like you're like, what was I worried about? I
Yeah.
was on this plane of existence worried about some, you know, some minute stuff. You know, now I just realized like everything's good. I'm not worried about my next meal, right? So
Now, what
everything's okay.
happened? Nothing happened. You just literally
Right.
changed your consciousness. Like what? And that,
Yes.
nothing externally has changed. Like no,
Right.
your problem is still there. And if you want to go down to that level, then go and eat some junk food and some pizza, and pretty soon
Right.
you're gonna go back to thinking, oh my God, I have so many problems in life.
Yes.
It's not an
Yes.
external act. It's like it's just consciousness. You're just boom, your perception.
Yes. Yes. 100%. So cold showers is one,
Okay,
definitely.
so that's one. What are some other tools you have in your toolbox?
For myself, it's meditation, right? For me, that's the first thing I do every morning. It's just because it's like there was I remember in high school, like I was so stressed out, and at such an early age too. Um, that like one of the three words that they described me in was like lost or something, and it's because I was so like lost in thought. Like the mental chatter was like just another level, right? Because you know. For some reason, like the last a couple of years, the last whatever of high school, there was like a lot of stress, right? Your university, this and that, and you're trying to avoid as well and run away. So meditation has been a great tool for me as well to just remind me that, you know what, calm down, get you know be present, right? Because that's the most important thing, right? I was talking about peace and pleasure earlier. It's like if I'm not present with you right now, it's everything else doesn't matter. Present drinking a bottle of water, then even if I have the best, the best orgasmic sex ever, I'm not gonna be there to enjoy it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think meditation for me has been a big tool to ease, let's say, ease the suffering, calm down the mental chatter, and uh, cut down as well the illusions, right? It's almost like meditation helps me realize like, oh, wait, don't get sucked into that advertisement, don't get sucked into thinking that you're not enough for this or that. I remember before that i used to I used to easily get into like this weird like rabbit hole online, and like next thing I know, I'm like I'm gonna buy a product that's gonna transform my life and it's gonna make everything better, right? And then you're like, what? How am I here?
Be careful of those internet rabbit holes.
Yeah. you know, so meditation has been just a big tool for me not to get sucked into any of that, right? And also not to be a slave to the mental mind, right? Because we all have destructive thoughts. It's our attachment to those thoughts that causes suffering, that
Yeah.
causes pain.
Yeah, it's actually identification with thought, period.
Yes.
Because if you can think
Yes.
of thought as like digestion, like if you eat something, oh, digestion is happening. Do you think
Right.
I'm digestion or do you think digestion is happening? It's just
Hmm.
happening. It's doing its thing. In the same
Right.
way, you're not identified with digestion. It's just digesting, right?
Right.
In the same way, thoughts are just thoughts. Like, oh, here's a good one, here's a bad one, here's a shitty one, here's a destructive one. Oh, okay,
Yes.
it's just boom, boom, boom. They're just, they're just like clouds. Like when it gets cloudy, it gets a little cloudy, and some clouds are white, some clouds are dark, and you know, uh, doesn't matter by the way what the cloud is. Even if it's a beautiful white cloud, it's still blocking the sun. Okay, it's
Mm.
still blocking the sun. That's
Yes.
why in
Yes.
in Zen Buddhism and in Vedanta and many like in yoga, the highest state you can achieve in this plane of existence is they call the no mind state. That's
Mm.
not the state where you're not thinking, but you're just like you're here. You're here. It's the sun. It's the beautiful sun. You're here,
Right.
and there's very little thoughts. There's no thoughts, and only they will arise when they need to arise. And there will be
Hmm.
like literally one of them or two of them, and you'll just kind of take them
Catch them.
and yeah, and that's it. And then you're empty again, right? That's why
Mm.
this guy spent years and years meditating, because that's the sun. The sun is actually the emptiness of the mind, the emptiness. You know,
Right.
so but you have to work with your mind. If you're full of negative thinking, first step you want to do is you want to start thinking positive.
Yes.
That's you don't try to empty your mind just empty, because it's not, you're full of thoughts right now. Maybe you start to think positively, and then slowly you empty your mind. And I'll tell you, I'm not there, because if I was there, I wouldn't be such a fucking loud mouth on YouTube, period. Okay,
Mm.
I think a lot of my thoughts are good. Most of my thoughts
Hmm.
are good thoughts now. I've managed to get myself in a place where they're mostly good productive thoughts, right?
Right.
I
Right.
still think a lot though. I'd like to think less, because I'd be more
Hmm.
happy, I'd be more content
Yes.
overall. And probably at some point in the future, I'll just reside to some island or something and hang out for the rest of my days in my emptiness, right?
Right. Go just sit in a cave and
Yeah,
be
just be
right.
empty, be a vegetable.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah. I think that's a big one. On the positive thought thing, is like a lot of people hear of like think positively and all that stuff. But it's easier said than done for most people, because the way our brains and our mind are set up is always to look for danger, to look for what's wrong in something,
mm,
right? That's why, like, if you're if you're in a relationship, if you're an employee at a job, and you do a million things right, and then that one time nothing doesn't go noticed, that one time you do something wrong, something gets noticed. And because that's the way the brain is set up, right? Because it's looking for survival. So I find that cold showers are great for that. It's a really great way to prime your brain that what, I can think positively, because you're dealing with that danger aspect in your mind.
right, right, right.
You know what I mean? Like it almost like you need to feed that danger thing in your mind so you can calm down.
I see. So by basically going through this experience of having to survive and having to succeed through it, your
Hmm.
those innate mechanisms that are wired to respond, because the human being is a response mechanism. So
Yes.
if you can get this response mechanism to respond to a survival situation, then it can calm down and be like, we've done our work for today. So then you can calm
Yes.
down.
Yes. And
Interesting.
then it becomes so much easier to think positively, right? It becomes a lot easier to do the, and then maybe from that point you want to go on to the to the thoughtless and no mind, which is a long journey.
It's a long journey. It definitely is
Yeah.
a long journey, and you would have to set your life up in such a way that you can do this. Like for example, Buddhist monks, they just retire to a monastery, so that
Hmm.
they don't have family obligations anymore. They don't have work obligations anymore because they live off donations and they live off food from other people. In fact, you have to learn how to beg for food as a Buddhist monk because that's something you're gonna do. That's
Wow.
Yeah, because that's it. You drop out of society, okay? But you're dropping out of society so that you can pursue these other altered states of consciousness. This is
Right.
why it is noteworthy to study Buddhism and in yoga, Hinduism, because these guys dropped out of society and dedicated themselves full time to the exploration of consciousness, and
Hmm.
therefore they have maps for it. They have
Right.
maps for this. You understand?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's one way. Now, the thing with your, whatever it is your trip is in life, is everyone has their own unique trip to find their way back home. So
Yes.
if your trip is the monk trip, you can't help but be a monk.
Yes.
You understand? You can't
Yes.
help it. Every atom in you would be like, just go be a monk. Just go retire to a
Right.
monk. You see? So
Yes.
that's what sort of feeling in the intuition of what is happening in your mind body complex is like, that's kind of taking you into your trip. Because
Hmm.
the nice thing about the Bhagavad Gita, for example, is it lays down different ways you could attain liberation.
Hmm.
One way has nothing to do with being a monk. It's called karma yoga. It is being in the thick of it 24/7 almost. Being
Yes.
out in the world, and through that
Right.
gaining liberation, you basically have to do things in an unattached way. I'm not gonna talk too in detail about it, but what I'm trying to illustrate is you could actually be in the thick of it, in the thick of
Yes.
daily activities, doing your dance, your act on the cosmic stage, okay, in the cosmic theater, and you could be putting on your act every single day. What is your act? My act is I'm a shopkeeper. I am
Right.
I am a personal trainer. I am a speaker.
Yes.
I am a
Right.
woman. I am a mother. I am a man. But
Yeah.
24/7 you put on your act, but because you're not attached to anything really, you're not doing it for good, you're not doing it for bad, you are, if you could be in
Hmm.
every way, like
Hmm.
if you could just do things for the sake of it, because, and if every act you do is because, not because you're gonna get good karma, or not because you're gonna want to hurt the other person, just because. And if you could do that every single act, then you are effectively in the meditative state as well, which is the
Yes.
liberation from the
Yes.
tyranny of the mind. You see, so there's
Right.
different ways. The monk way isn't the only way. However, if you feel that's something that's suitable to you and you feel an urge for it, trust me, you will not help but be a monk.
Hmm. 100%. 100%. And yeah, it's there's many avenues to it, right? The idea is to get to that liberation state, right? So yeah, I'm definitely not there yet, but for myself, I still feel like, what, there is this thing, like I have desires and I have things, and so I go with the karmic yoga path, which is a perfect segue that we're gonna go into. The the next tool for me is yoga,
Like
right?
hatha yoga, like physical, like
Physical,
the
doing,
physical aspect.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Do like having a yoga practice, and yoga was to me that something that I started because I was doing jiu-jitsu a lot. My back was just getting sore, getting injured, all that stuff. And I heard this one jiu-jitsu athlete talk about that it helps you heal from injuries faster. I was like, let's do it. So and then next thing I know, it was a whole like spiritual journey on its own. And then I was like, wow, there's like definitely something to this, because, and I know this is gonna sound bizarre to some people, but I started having what they call emotional practices, which is like at the end of a yoga class, like you're holding a pose or something, and you just feel like this emotion sort of like release, and and
Yeah, I
that
remember
release
people
is a
crying
step
at the
towards
end of the.
liberation, basically.
Yeah, I remember people would cry at the end of some classes. They would just start crying.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, for me, yoga, it's been a tool for that. And you see, like, crying is, you know, uh, that scares off people, right? And that's what keeps people almost in like this like numb state, right? Of like, oh, I don't want to feel bad. There's this like judgment on like either feeling angry or feeling sad or feeling whatever, and then they get sucked back into consumerism, right? So yeah, there's just don't run away from those negative feelings, because it's everything. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly,
You've
right?
you've got to empty the cup. This is an empty cup right now. See,
Yes,
I can fill it.
yes.
There's
What
nothing.
does it say? Life is a. What does the cup say?
It's a journey, not a race. Some fucking
Yes.
cheesy shit, eh?
Yeah.
This is a commercial, guys. Life is not a journey. It's a journey. It's not a race.
Uh,
That
yes.
could be the
Yeah.
commercial for yoga, eh? If I open up a yoga studio.
Have your face on it. What would you call your yoga studio?
The Cosmic Theater.
The Cosmic Theater. There we go.
Yeah, the Cosmic
Yeah.
Theater. It'd be like a pretty hilarious yoga studio. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
It'd be pretty hilarious. It won't be.
Yoga instructors would be getting philosophical and shit, and you'd be cracking jokes.
Yeah, basically, like some weird shit will happen like in the middle of the class where everyone's taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Like somebody would just start up bursting laughter or something.
Right.
I'd probably do it on purpose too. I'd like do
Yeah.
it on purpose. Where like how everybody gets so serious and in the zone in the middle of
Right.
it. Here I am, a serious yogi. Like I'm accomplishing something great here. I'm getting in the
Yes.
full mind state. Here I am. Look at how flexible I am, and you get some nice beauty, right? Like,
Right.
I look really nice right now, right? And then
Yeah.
it's like me in the middle of the class, just cracking up, just
Yeah.
cracking up, like just laughing. It's like, come on, guys, come on.
Right.
But
Realize this is all play.
it's all play. Nah, it's all play. It's
Mhm.
it's all play. That's the truth. The truth is, it's all play. Like there's no other. Like it is what it is. It is the play of the one.
Right.
The lila and the nitya. That's the terms for it in Hinduism.
Meaning?
Lila is the play.
Mm-hmm.
Nitya is the sort of the one, the Brahman experiencing itself, playing. Like what we're doing, me and you right now, is we're playing.
Right.
Like we're basically, by the way, we're doing a really good job, because I am really convinced right now that I am separate from you. So we're doing a beautiful job of playing, because
Right.
you're fully convinced that you're Ali Kanaan and you got your own life and your own aspirations and blah blah blah, and I'm really convinced. But it is the one playing with itself, really.
Right.
You
Right.
talk about it, God just masturbating, essentially.
Yes.
A big
Yes.
giant, boom. Like you ever seen Randy when he didn't watch porn in South Park, and then he jerked off and he came like all over?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, basically, that's like essentially that's what God is doing. And when
Right.
you get enlightened is when you have that moment of Randy in South Park just completely losing it and coming all over, basically, right?
Right. 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 Right.
That's what it is, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But people don't want to hear that. They want to
No, nobody
give
wants
me the
to.
5 tips, Saeed. Give me the 5 tips to pick up this hot blonde chick.
Yeah, yeah,
What are the 5 tips that you can give me? I
yeah.
don't want to hear the universe is playing. I'm suffering here. Saeed, Saeed, I am suffering. I
Yeah, man.
can't. I can't.
You know what? Krishna Krishna tells Arjuna in the Gita, he tells him it is an immoral act to teach the Dharma, to teach
Mhm.
the
The
way,
Dharma is
the truth, the way
right.
of things to
Right.
someone, or I'm paraphrasing here. He basically tells
Mhm.
him it is immoral to teach wisdom, which is Dharma, to those who are not ready to hear Dharma, who are not ready
Mhm.
to hear wisdom. So if that guy comes up to me and says, Saeed, bro, give me 5 tips to pick up a blondie, it would be immoral for me to tell him, hey, by the way, life is a play and, it's all
Right.
joke. That would be an
Right.
immoral act because he does not want to hear wisdom right now. He does
Yes.
not want to hear the Dharma. And it would be
Right.
immoral on my part to
Right.
preach Dharma to those who do not want to hear the Dharma.
Yes. Yes. Well, because if you are doing it from that, it would be a place from ego, right? Of it's almost like right. It's almost like this. Oh, I am spiritually above, and let me show you that this is the truth.
So
But
speaking of pride, so this is from Buddhism, the 31 planes of existence, right?
mm,
The first 5 are all the hells, the ghosts, the animals, the titans, the humans. Then
right.
there are 6 more above it, and then you go above into the more next level states. Okay,
Yes.
but those 6 above it, those are called the heavenly realms.
Hmm.
These are the astral plane. When you go to heaven, the heaven and the hells you hear about in Islam and Christianity, those are all those 6 planes above the human plane. Those are the
Right.
realms of the gods. Now, interesting. Buddhism advises you not to go there because the beings there are stuck in their own pride because they made some spiritual progress and they were
Hmm.
generous and they accumulated good karma and they advanced spiritually. They ended up going to those heavenly planes,
Hmm.
but those planes are actually still full of pride, and all the gods compete with one another. You see?
Right.
So that's what we're talking about the pride is like if you're trying to teach the Dharma to someone that doesn't want to hear it, you're essentially now you have this spiritual ego. You're teaching from a place of, okay, look, I'm better than you, so let me teach you, let me show
Hmm.
you the way. No, 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 no. What do you want picking up 5 blondes, 5 tips? No, 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 come here,
Right.
I'm going to show you the real way. Let me
Yes.
show you the real way. It's like if it comes from that place, you could still make progress and go beyond the human realm, but you're only going to be stuck in still the realm of pride.
Hmm.
And so that, like, just because a person is spiritual and just because they make progress on the human plane, they might indeed be spiritually more conscious. That doesn't mean you're free, baby. That doesn't mean you're
Yes.
free. You could
Yes.
become trapped to your own ego, to your own pride, essentially.
Yes. Yes. That old saying, you can't escape from a prison if you don't realize you're in one.
Yeah,
Right?
pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we're all we're all in a prison of some sort.
We
We're all
we have to be, because we wouldn't be on this plane of existence, on this plane of consciousness, if we weren't.
yes. Yes. Yeah. And we were subjected to 18 or whatever 20 years of programming before we had any choice about it, right?
So this is why compassion is such a big thing, because even when you wake up from all of this, from this deep sleep, you've got to deal first with the programming of this lifetime, but you've also got to deal with all the karma from all accumulated from all the previous lives,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
So
that's
it's
why,
like, oh, you think you're accomplishing something. It's like, no, 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 go back, go back.
I mean, like, kids are different. Like, for example, me and my brother, we were talking about it yesterday. Me and him, same upbringing, same environment, same everything, same parents, same. We both, got the same treatment. We got beat up. It's the same. Yet we're
Right.
different. Why are we different?
Yeah.
And why were we different even as kids?
Right.
Because of our previous karma, our karmic predispositions,
Right.
whatever desires and attachments propelled our energy to be incarnating in this particular round, we're manifesting differently despite our programming, which is pretty much almost identical on a genetic level. Me and my brother look very alike. Okay, we look very alike on a genetic level, on so many levels, yet we're quite different because
Right.
of the different karmic predispositions that propelled us to incarnate here. So it's almost like we're both here and we're both looking for something different, and that's why we're acting differently, because we're
Right.
here. It's different desires and attachments that propelled us here.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's why, it's not just the programming of this lifetime. You might rise above and beyond the programming of this lifetime, but you've got to deal with how much accumulated karma, right?
Right. Yeah. 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 It's a journey, like your mug says, man. It's a journey. It's not a race.
It's not a race, it's
Yeah.
a journey, and it's a very long cosmic journey. This is the cosmic theater, and we're
Right.
in, you know, I must be at least now on my, I don't even know, because the Buddha, when the Buddha got enlightened, he looked back in his last 99,000 incarnations, and he said that is but a small, tiny atom of how many incarnations I've had.
Wow.
And he was able to look at 99,000. They weren't all human incarnations. They were, in you, because you can incarnate in different forms, different planets, different realms, different systems. But that just gives you an idea of, and this is why I called the podcast the Cosmic Theater,
Right.
because it is a theater. We're all putting on an act, and I'm acting now as the role of a human being with the name Saeed, a male speaker, seeker for the truth. How did I forget that? Seeker for the truth.
Right.
Let me put up my glasses. Okay, I am seeking the truth right now.
Right.
Okay? Right? So, and we're acting and we're happening to be in these specific incarnations, and here we are. Here we are.
Right. Right. Here we are. God playing with itself.
Yeah, here we are. Everybody's just kind of, كل يغني على ليلاه.
كل يغني على ليلاه. What does that mean?
It means everybody is singing according. Well, literally, it means everybody is singing according to their night. Basically, the night is associated with contemplation and reflection.
Right.
So basically, everybody's doing their thing. That's what.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody's doing their thing.
Right.
Everybody's, like
carrying wood, chopping.
Carrying
water, chopping.
100 people would be watching. Let's say 100 people are watching this podcast. Each one of them is doing their thing and getting out of this podcast what they are looking for.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So some girl could be watching us and like screening our attractive ability, because that's kind of what she's looking for, right?
Right.
I like your curls, I like your hair, I like your beard. Somebody else could be watching this and they're really intrigued about the part where I talked about the 31 planes of existence.
Yes.
That's what they're looking for. That's their thing right now. That's their trip, right?
Yes.
So everybody's on their trip at the end of the day. Everybody's in the cosmic theater doing their own thing.
Yeah, however long this podcast comes, it's like whatever they take from it is gonna be dependent on them, right? You don't have to take notes. You don't have to. Whatever sticks. Whatever sticks, and that's that's how it should be, because everybody's on their own trip. So let's get back to more tools.
Okay, so we talked about cold showers. We talked about
meditation,
yoga. The yoga. So for me, making videos is a great tool. Because I explain the content of my mind to myself by speaking to the videos.
Right.
So sometimes in my videos, I can watch my video after and be like, you look confused as fuck in this video. Okay? Because I am confused because I'm trying to
Right.
explain this to myself. So I am
Hmm.
trying to explain this to myself. And I find it to be an amazing way of clarifying the contents of my mind, of even calming my mind and making things clear. So I find it a
Hmm.
great way to gain insight because I'll have something, and by talking about it, I would have either resolved the question that I have been asking myself through talking about it, because I get in a certain state of consciousness when I make videos where it definitely is an enhanced higher state of consciousness.
Hmm.
And because of that, I'm able to access more wisdom and I'm able to access more clarity. And through
Right.
accessing this wisdom and clarity, I'm able to answer some of the questions that I have for myself. And by making the video, I would have explained it to myself and I
Right.
would have resolved the conflict, the question that I've been asking myself. And I just find it such a therapy to
Hmm.
speak. I can't help but make videos. I can't help it.
Right.
It
Right.
isn't something that I have control over. It isn't
Hmm.
something that I say I think I'll make a video today, or I think I'm not gonna make a video today, or I think I'll take up like yeah. Trust me. I tried taking a 1 week break from making videos. Believe me, I tried that. I said, Saeed, let's
And
reset your mind, okay? And then I went to I went to Toronto, to Mississauga, and all I can think about when I'm there is I want to get back and I want to make videos. I want to get back and I want to make
right.
videos. And I couldn't pass after 4 days. It only took 4 days, and there I was making videos again. So I have a library of them. I'm always scheduled 2 weeks ahead because I can't stop making videos.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because it's such a therapy for me. It is such a therapy. It clarifies my mind. It helps me. And if you have a clear mind, then you have a mind that's at peace, at ease,
Yes.
then you could be more often. You see,
You could
you
be.
could be more often.
Yes. 100%.
You could be more often.
100%.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't see myself stopping making videos anytime soon because at this
Yeah.
particular moment they happen to be a form of therapy for me. So
Yes.
then the conclusion from this would be any creative outlet. See, I'm a shitty musician, good
Hmm.
dancer, but a shitty musician. Terrible painter, terrible sculpture, terrible artist overall. But my art is my words.
Right.
I'm very good with words, with putting words together. So any creative outlet, the gym is another thing. Like I do
Yes.
gymnastics, and I know you do your jiu-jitsu. But
Yes.
I love going to the gym, and I love just doing my gymnastics. I love just doing handstands and flipping up in the air. And
Right.
uh, again, that's another creative outlet for me.
Yes. A hundred
So
percent. It's
creative
funny
outlet,
that you say that because I have Ram Dass's book right here. The Remember Be Here Now,
yeah,
and I had a friend who's like just so in love with jujitsu. Like he like when he found jujitsu, he was like, "This is what I want to do for the rest of my life." And it's such a beautiful thing. And anyways, he was over at my place, and he has no spiritual practices, whatever. He grew up Christian, right, and went to church every Sunday and did that whole thing, but obviously didn't believe any of it. Um, and he saw the book because Ram Dass's book looks interesting, like weird. What's this like weird scripture thing that it looks like? And he read the first few pages, and then when he said like when he read like, oh, when there's a task to do, you are the task, and he was like, that's how I feel with jujitsu. And it
yeah,
was like this weird, it was like this beautiful spark that came up with him, and he almost was like, what is this book, right? He became fascinated. um yeah, and he fled right after because some people are not ready. You always, what's that saying, you are where you are when the next message appears,
yeah,
right? If you hear a message that you're sort of like not ready for, you sort of like retreat back, and you sort of like you're taken by awe by it, and you're like, "Oh, I don't know how to deal with this," right? It disrupts the the normal routine, the normal thinking patterns of being too much, right? And he didn't even do psychedelics. He just
Yeah.
read a few pages of the book and was like, "Oh, this is what I feel. This is what I feel like with doing jujitsu."
Well, everybody's got their thing. I mean, whenever you see somebody really enjoying something, that's because, like somebody enjoying surfing, for example, or somebody enjoying like athletes. Why do you think athletes get addicted to their sport?
Hmm.
Because that's when they're playing, they're transcending their ego, which is their
Yes,
storyline, and they become the
yes,
task essentially.
yes, 100%, 100%, and that's how I feel as well about movement, whether it be yoga or jujitsu, or even the gym. To me, for some reason or another, this is the cards that I got dealt with, is that I am just fascinated with like movement. Let me explore, how technical can this move get, right? um and that's my creative outlet as well.
No, I hear
uh,
you. I hear you. Because I think, but going back to the concept of life being a play, which is, Leela means divine dance, divine play.
right, right.
Everything is a dance. So movement is sort of like, it's kind of like, as above, so below. So, for example, the sun is the physical manifestation of the metaphysical light. As above,
Hmm.
so below. So you could say that consciousness is light, and you could
Hmm.
say consciousness is the sun, physical light manifested as the sun. So in the
Right.
same way, because the entire thing is a dance, so by observing and becoming part of movement, you're becoming part of the dance at this minute physical level.
Yes.
You see, and by
Yes.
being in that small, minute physical part of the dance, you are essentially part of the dance of the whole thing, because it's
Right.
all one thing, as above, so below.
Right. Right. Yeah. um the universe is just playing a big game with itself, man, and we're all taking part with it, you
Where,
know.
like God acting out that it's part of the dance. Like,
Right.
I gotta when I'm with my dad and my mom, I gotta play the part of God that is the son, and
Hmm.
God is gotta play the part where God is the dad and God is the mom.
Right. Right.
It's a dance. Like all social roles are dances. All social
Yes.
institutions are dances. All
Yes.
relationships between self and other are just forms of dance.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're part of the
Yes.
dance.
You know, it's sad to see people, get sucked in and now realize that it is a dance. It's
Yeah,
just play. Take it
yeah.
easy.
Just play, just play.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Like, during my heavy experimentation phase with psychedelics, uh,
Hmm.
that message kept popping up over and over and over and over. So much
Hmm.
so that I had like at least 12 or 13 papers around in my room, in my apartment, that just said those words, just play.
Wow.
Because it kept appearing every time I tripped. It kept telling me, "Hey, like, the cosmic giggle you get when you take shrooms.
Yes.
You know, that's basically that's the cosmic giggle. That's like
Yes.
the you singing the stage, and you seeing you being part of the actor on the stage, and then laughing your ass off because you realize you're actually not finite, you're not limited, you're not a human being, but you're like a consciousness, an eternal consciousness.
Yes.
So you're laughing your ass off.
Yes.
And that message kept popping up over and over. Just play,
Hmm.
just play, just play,
Right.
play.
Right.
Just
Right.
play, just play.
Uh,
Play, play.
what are
Just
you gonna do with life, Saeed? You need to build a family. You need this. You need that. You're gonna
oh,
have
hold on,
kids.
hold on, hold on. Okay, back. I can't put on that act anymore.
Yeah,
I
for
tried.
too long. You realize I can't, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You either do it from a playful state, or it's not that you don't play the act, because you can't but play the act. Like, what am I
Yes.
gonna do? I'm gonna stop being a human being right now? I mean, I guess I could. Some yogis leave their body, like Sadhguru's
Right.
wife left her body. That's it. She gone into samadhi, she left into another plane of consciousness, and she left her body. You could do that.
Mm.
Keep in mind, you could do that if you're a skilled yogi, if you're a skilled
Right.
meditator. You could do
Yeah.
that. You could just drop out of the act altogether if you want to.
Hmm.
Uh, but if you enjoy the act and you would like to put it on for a little bit more, then why not?
Hmm.
You know,
Yes.
and you do what you enjoy. Like, I enjoy this act of I am a YouTuber and I'm gonna put videos and we're making a podcast. I really enjoy it. It's my trip
Hmm.
at the moment. I really enjoy it. But make no mistake about it. One lifetime or another, okay, I will be like, I am done with that trip. I don't want to speak anymore. I don't want to be a public figure anymore, because I've probably been doing this for many lifetimes. That's why I do
Hmm.
it, because it comes easy to me, right?
Right.
Clearly, like Ram Dass was saying, he's trying to figure out his own trip. And he's like, my own trip is that I'm hung up on spreading the light. I have a desire to spread the light, so I keep coming back to do the same thing. Okay?
Okay.
Which is
And he's
still,
saying that's why he went on the path like he went on, the
and
whole
that's
psychologist and
still physical plane of existence, because
right.
his desire to spread the light keeps bringing him back into this plane of consciousness. But
Hmm.
the way any desire works, within this impermanent world, it doesn't matter what desire, it runs its course. So at some point, Ram Dass, The Rock, Saeed Mubayyad are gonna have to just stop talking and stop this nonsense of spreading the light and whatever, because
Right.
they're done with the trip. The desire to spread
Yes.
light is finally run its course.
Right.
See?
Right.
So we're in the
Yes.
amusement park. This is the cosmic theater.
Hmm.
We're in an amusement park, and you do what you feel like you want to do, or what you resonate with in the moment,
Right.
because you're in that roller coaster right now, and you've got to see
Yes.
yourself through the ride.
What does Ram Dass say? We are all walking each other home.
Yeah, basically.
Right?
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there is also the concept of bodhisattva in Buddhism. Bodhisattva is someone
Which is
who realizes liberation, becomes liberated, becomes self-realized, but decides on purpose to come back to this plane of consciousness and other planes within the cycle of death and rebirth, because the
hmm.
astral plane, by the way, is within the cycle of death and rebirth. It is also within the
Hmm.
samsara. It is within the illusion. It is within time and space.
Right,
So
right, right.
Bodhisattva comes back and says, I'm realized now, but I'm going to come back and help other beings be realized too.
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's the role of the Bodhisattva, someone who voluntarily decides to come back here, knowing full well that they don't have to be. I
Right.
definitely not, because I can sense that my desires and my attachments brought me back here, and
Hmm.
not necessarily me realizing that I don't have to be back here again, but here I am.
Right.
I am, however, trying to be very. I'm listening and listening more than reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Uh,
Okay.
Basically, the reason why 99.9999999% of us, you guys
Yes.
listening, and probably me and you too, more than likely, the reason why we're here is when we died, we got so confused, and our karma and our confusion brought us back into this plane of existence.
Ah.
Now, if you know your way through these neighborhoods, then you don't have to be scared, or you don't have to be confused. And that's what the Tibetan Book of the Dead is all about.
Okay.
It's about knowing
Okay.
your way through these neighborhoods. People who know their way through the neighborhoods, they have the full conscious choice to go wherever they want after they die. This is how Sadhguru's wife
And
left her
that's the Buddhi. What is it called? Bodhisattva.
Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva basically can go anywhere. They're liberated, but they decide to come back here to help others.
Right.
To
Right.
help others do the same thing.
Yeah.
So you know, like Buddha is a bodhisattva, Jesus is a
Right.
bodhisattva. You know, we're talking
Right.
about really highly skilled yogis as being bodhisattva, right?
Yes.
Fully
Yes. The
realized beings.
realized beings.
Yeah, fully realized beings. They're bodhisattvas. They're not here because of their karma or attachments or desires or their
Mm.
confusion when they died. They're here because they're
Right.
here to help us,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
So most of us are here because we're fucking confused. We got confused
Yeah.
after we died.
We still got so many attachments and so many desires.
Yeah, and I'm very interested to learn about the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and I'm listening to it first time, by the way. I have no idea what they're saying, so I decided this is gonna be one of those books I'm gonna have to listen to 20 times before I
Mm-hmm.
even start to understand a little bit of it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
It's that deep.
well, it tells you what happens after you die. It shows you the way. It tells you all the different things that you go through, like the clear white light. It talks about the clear white light, which if you do the Wim Hof breathing long enough, you start to see the clear white light. You're
Mm-hmm.
essentially going to a stage beyond. You're going into the first bardo, they call the
Mm-hmm.
first stage in the afterlife, which is the clear white light.
Right.
And
Right.
then you can decide to merge with the clear white light and be done with the trip, or you might get confused, or you might hear some voices, and that will propel you into the second bardo and the third bardo. Eventually the confusion and the past karma and the desires and the attachments leads you back to take a birth here. So they say
Mm.
that even if you're confused, the Tibetan Book of the Dead aims not only to liberate you, but if you're not ready to be liberated, to
Confuse
take
you even more.
to take a favorable birth in your next life.
Okay.
You
To
see?
take a favorable birth at your next. Okay. At your
Yeah,
next
yeah.
life. Okay.
Take a favorable
Okay.
birth. Yeah. So that a favorable birth meaning better circumstances for me to be liberated, to reach nirvana.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's very important actually to become, to become familiar with these altered states because you don't want to be confused when you die.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. To me, this is the first time I am hearing about this. I've recently started to listen to Ram Dass's podcast after the last time you came over, actually, and it's been eye-opening to say the least.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
It is. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
went from the first episode, and I'm going through the whole story, the whole journey,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he like I've never felt like such a level of involvement listening to somebody.
Well, I'll tell you what, because you have finally sensed that you have heard the truth you've been looking for all along.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, basically. That's
yeah,
definitely how I felt when I started going through these podcasts. And I listened to many of them, many times. Eventually, I was like, where the hell is Ram Dass talking about all this stuff? Where is he coming up with it? Like, I
right.
want to know the source. And as it turns out, it's all in Buddhism and Hinduism.
Yes, yeah. And he talks about Ashtanga yoga
Ashtanga yoga, yeah.
as well. Yeah, which is like fascinating. You know,
Yeah.
I've been wanting to delve into that and find out what that path is about as well. You
Yeah,
know.
it's pretty crazy, man. They basically take you from wherever you are if you follow the system. Uh,
Hmm.
they will take you to a place where you experience samadhi, which is like, we talk about the 31 planes of consciousness. Samadhi is a very high state.
Hmm.
It's the same thing. It's like the Buddha called it the realm of neither perception nor non-perception. So they literally, if you follow the system and you have like either you're taking your teachings from like a proper teacher,
Yeah.
and if you do actually follow the system, you can go from a completely programmed robot, let's say, and you could be
Hmm.
experiencing these, very high states of consciousness.
Mm.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like they have a certain meditation where you're just looking at a candle flame, literally for days. All you're doing is looking at a candle flame.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
apparently, if you do it long enough, and if you actually follow all the system, the Patanjali system, the Ashtanga Yoga, you will become that candle flame.
Wow.
You will literally become that candle flame.
Wrap your head around that, people.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Uh-huh.
you know, it's all metaphorically speaking, you are one with the candle flame. It's like, no. You're gonna be the candle flame.
It's like, you know, when he talked about his guru knowing about his mom's spleen, knowing that his mom
Yes.
died from spleen, he was saying that his guru literally became his mom's spleen.
Wow.
Yeah, like that's how he knows. He knows because he literally became his mom's spleen, bursting into her body.
Oof.
Yeah, I now take
Wow.
that in. I don't even can't even perceive of what the hell that means.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know
Yeah.
that's, you know, I mean his guru was a miracle head, by the way. Like there's he's got a book on his guru called The Miracle of Love, Miracles of Love.
The
You know,
miracles of love.
yeah, he apparently he was doing teleporting. He was, he was doing all kinds of crazy things, reading minds, teleporting, doing absolutely, things that will completely stifle the rational mind. You know,
Mm.
this isn't just Ram Dass's accounts. These are the accounts of hundreds of people who have been with the guru.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you've got to also have a little bit of faith in the accounts of hundreds of people,
Hmm.
who have seen this. And I mean, Ram Dass isn't just some guy on the streets. He was a Harvard professor.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? He was a
Yeah.
Harvard professor.
Yeah. Like not only Harvard professor, like uh, he was in all what he calls the inner temples. It was Harvard, Yale, and Berkeley, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, this is he's got that successful label of from the Western world, from the
Yeah.
Western perspective.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
to get there, you would have to be a purely rational being at that point and so he went from a completely rational mind to like kissing his guru's feet because, according to his accounts, the love you feel in his presence, you just want to like be at his feet, because this is like pure spirit incarnating in physical, in physical appearance, right? And I was
Yeah.
very skeptical of this stuff, but I get it. It's kind of like, being in the presence of the sun, and you're in the sun, and that's it. It's you don't want anything else. It's you and
Right.
and so you can kind of
Yeah.
see that a human being could, become that sun, become that love, where
Right.
on being in the presence of that human being, which is really just pure spirit, pure light, pure
Hmm.
consciousness, pure sun at that point,
Right.
that it could completely blow your mind and you could just totally be in it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. You for just to make it for as a concept that people can grasp is that when a child is born, he's just so much light, that you just want to play with that child and you want to kiss him and you want to.
yeah.
It's it's basically that times like 1,000 or 1,000,000. That's basically what that guru is.
Yeah, and
Uh,
so I used to be very skeptical of it because again, I have a Western mind and
Rational, yes,
a very egoic mind, like I'll do
right.
it my way kind of thing. Like kind of, I was really into Terence McKenna too, who is basically
Hmm.
all about do it your way and you don't need gurus, right? Uh,
Right.
but as I'm learning about this stuff, I'm coming to appreciate and have respect for the concept of a guru. Mind you,
Yes.
most gurus are complete horseshit. They're teachers. They're not gurus. They're not self-realized beings.
Right.
But if you're lucky enough, like Ram Dass, and you stumble upon a self-realized being, you know that's it.
Right. And
You
even the teachers can show you something,
True,
right?
true. No, absolutely, absolutely. I don't mean to at all
You know.
belittle teachers because I am acting somewhat of a teacher now for some people, So I am in a way a teacher also. So
Right.
I'm not belittling the teacher.
Yes.
Ram Dass is a teacher, and I learn a great deal from him. So no, definitely, there's teachers all around, and the guru is just a perfected teacher.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a perfected
True.
teacher.
True. Very well said. Very well said.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, definitely I have respect for it now more than before.
yes. Yes. Ram Dass has got a saying. When you know how to listen, everybody's the guru, right? So, in a sense, don't also get hung up in looking for the guru too much.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
yeah. No,
know,
it's very true. It's very true.
yeah,
Everybody is the guru. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And when I guess whenever we are ready, that guru will pop into our life in one way or another.
It doesn't have to be a human being, man. It could be a
Right,
mushroom. It could be
right,
a tab of acid, right?
right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
It's not
yeah.
to you, man.
It could be DMT, right?
It could be a fungus. It could be a plant. It could be an
Right,
animal,
right,
right? Yeah, it
right,
doesn't have to be a human being. It could be the sun. You know what? Why
right.
do you think I'm moving to Thailand, bro? Because to me, the sun is a lot like a guru.
Yes, yes.
Really, like I am a sun worshiper. I
Mm,
consider myself to be a sun worshiper. When
yeah,
I do worship the sun. And
yeah.
when it's summertime here and it's sunny, I actually first thing I do in the morning after I do my routine and a microdose is I go out and for about 15 minutes I pray to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And I even have a mantra that I got from Ramdas, Aditya Hridayam Punyam, Sarvshatnu Binashanam. All evil shall vanish for he who keeps the sun in his heart.
Yes, I think I heard that in the podcast.
Yeah, yeah. So
Now
I
I want to ask you, do you know if there's an emphasis on why it's said in Sanskrit? Does it
about what exactly about the sun?
that no that phrase, that mantra, that
I
prayer?
don't know. I tried to look for it, but I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
Right.
because the sun is the physical light. It's the physical manifestation of the metaphysical light. Because
Right. No, no, what I'm saying is that like does it is that mantra in Sanskrit can you think of it in English
yeah,
and
you
say
could
it,
just
or do you have to sort of like honor that part and the do you know what I mean?
no, you could say it in English. I mean, if you just
Mm,
say all evil vanishes for he who keeps the sun in his heart. Uh,
right.
now, and if you're saying it, I think that would have just as much of an impact on you as saying Aditya Hridayam Punyam, Sarv Shatnu
Mm,
Binashanam. Now, the Sanskrit language is it's sacred. It's Arabic is sacred too. Uh,
yes.
it's sacred because I don't know exactly why, but maybe because of thousands of years of that language being associated with the divine, with consciousness, it became sacred.
Hmm.
It's kind of like if somebody, if we, it's kind of like walking into the monastery we go and meditate in. You know how we get easily into a meditative state
Yes.
because the physical location is so blessed and it's so blessed that you immediately tune into it. In the
Right.
same way, I think the Sanskrit language, it has been blessed by all these thousands of of years of gurus and people who dedicate themselves to God and love, that the language Sanskrit became just a sacred language.
Hmm.
That when you say things in Sanskrit, then they have a certain effect, maybe even a very subtle effect on you.
Right.
You see,
Right.
and I think Arabic
Yeah.
is also in the same boat as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah. I definitely feel it with Arabic. There's definitely like a certain touch to the Arabic language uh, that you can just it's just harder to express in English.
true, true. There is more Arabic. I feel like you can express a lot of humor in Arabic. You know,
Yes.
like a lot of humor. Like I'm watching the مسلسلات سورية, like
Yeah,
funny
yeah, yeah,
comedy.
yeah, yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Syrian
some of the
comedies.
phrases they use and some of the things in Amsal, like some of the phrases and the metaphors.
Yeah.
Like
Man, what's that guy with the mustache? What's his name? Do you know what thinking
that.
about? Huh? The guy with the mustache.
The guy with the mustache. There's a lot of them. They all have
And
mustaches.
he has مسلسل لإله, like he has just a show for himself. Like
What is it called?
I'm trying to remember now.
يوميات مدير عام. That's the one I'm watching now.
Let me look it up. Anyways, you were saying?
Yeah, yeah. So I feel like Arabic is a very expressive language. So there's a wide range of things you can express love more than you. English is very practical. It's a very bottom line practical language.
Yes.
Arabic
Yes,
is
it is.
expressive. You can express your love even for God more in it. You can express your love. You know, like there's so much poetry, romantic poetry in Arabic that is just so expressive. You can express your love to friends. You can express humor more. There's more to express. So I feel like Spanish is the most romantic language. Clearly, that's a language
Oh,
designed for romance. You know,
yes. Yes, without a
English
doubt.
were designed for practicality and rock bottomness.
Sorry?
English is more designed, I feel, for rock bottomness and practicality
Right.
in business.
Rigidness,
Rigid,
rational.
rational, yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Sanskrit perhaps is designed for like to communicate with consciousness in a sacred way. Sanskrit definitely has that element to it.
Yes. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it definitely has that element to it.
Yes. Um, yeah, Arabic was a huge one for me because my grandmother was a teacher, right? And to her, like, you know, she saw all her grandkids going off to the West, and she's like, no, 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 no. We're gonna make sure that this language is part of you and it's part of the, yeah. So there's a great deal of like attachment for myself to the Arabic language.
Maybe that's
Uh,
what you hear. Maybe last lifetime you liked Arabic so much and you were jealous of people who spoke Arabic. It could be as simple
right,
as this. It really could be as simple as this, that it propelled you
right.
to take a birth in the Middle East, in an Arabic speaking
Mm,
country.
wow. Yeah.
That's what we talk about when we say our attachments and our desires.
Hmm.
You know, like if you
Yes.
have a desire, maybe in a past life you had you had an Arabic girlfriend or something, and she spoke Arabic, and you were so jealous. Or
Right.
every time you were hanging around in school, and there were these cool Arabic kids, and you're like, oh, I really just want to learn Arabic. And maybe you
Right.
didn't get to it in that past in that lifetime, and maybe your attachment and your desire to speak Arabic, to be an Arab, you love the
Hmm.
culture so much in a past life. Guess what?
Right.
Your desires manifest, ask and you shall receive. So then
Yes.
you're propelled to incarnate, to take a birth in an Arabic speaking country.
Mm.
See,
Wow.
that's how it
Wow.
works. That's how it works. I'm learning from those Buddhists. I'm learning from them, and that's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They figured it out.
They
You
figured it out.
know.
No, they really did. They really did.
You know, the West is only catching up. You know. I have a friend as well who like that's his whole. You know, he's sort of like on a similar journey like us. Um, where he recently did like a promotional video for his project, and he talked about how at first he did the Western thing, right? He did you know, trying to accumulate the wealth and the status and all that, and then realized, you know what, the West is so far behind compared to the East, so far behind.
Yeah, they really are. Like even I'm taking like some philosophy courses right now, and you know, even Western philosophy, with the exception of Plato and Aristotle and
Yes.
Socrates, really even most of the philosophy is way behind. It really is. Like
Mhm.
it's like they're still operating at a conscious level in consciousness where it's not near where, say, if you read Vedantic books, Vedanta is like a philosophical Hindu school of thought, and it's just pure wisdom, pure truth. You just read it and you hear it, and you're like, yeah, these guys figured it out. Yeah, like yeah,
Right.
So definitely, the West is, if you're looking to advance your. I mean, that's why I'm moving to Thailand. That's why I'm moving out east. My
Mhm.
energy now is propelling me down there. I'm
Right.
sort of done with what I need to be done with here. The
Yes.
energy is taking me there, because I've realized, if you're going to do some consciousness work, east is much further. If you
Yeah.
are interested in technology, you don't go to the east, you go to the west,
Hmm.
because
Right.
it's just I'm speaking at it purely from an objective standpoint here. If you
Right.
want a better car, better technology, you want the latest technology or whatever, don't go to Eastern science. Go to Western science.
Right, right, right.
Don't. I mean, why are you wasting your time? In the same way, if you want to work on your consciousness,
Yeah,
and even you know, if you just want to work on your consciousness, you want to work on your spirit and you as a human being, don't waste your time in the West. Just go to the East. They figure it out.
right,
Don't be
right.
wasting your. I mean, there's some gems in the West. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying,
Yeah,
do you want to do this quickly? Do you want to do this
right.
fast? You know, just go to the East. They already figured it out.
Yeah,
You know, don't get an Indian car. They're pretty shitty. Get a German car,
right,
right?
right.
Don't waste your time. You know, you're
Yes.
going to wait maybe 100 years before the Indians figure out how to make a car as good as a Mercedes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes, exactly. It's
hey,
really
you
as
know,
simple as that.
yeah, if you're looking to work on your consciousness, then don't waste your time with this Western, you know, the Western philosophy and all this stuff. Like, even with all the respect, I know you're a huge fan of Jordan Peterson. I know you're a huge fan.
Right.
With
Yes.
all due
Yeah.
respect, though, he's quite behind in his philosophy. If you
Hmm.
compare it to, you know, some of the Eastern philosophers and some of the Eastern
Yes.
wisdom.
Yes.
With all due
Well,
respect,
it's again, it's all where you're at the journey, right?
it's
We
where
were
you're at
talking
in the
about
journey. Yeah, yeah, like yeah,
in
exactly.
the beginning how like if you're like suffering and you're thinking about like the 3 tips to pick up the hot blondie,
Yeah,
you can't tell the guy like, you know what, it's just all play, man.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
not able to receive
True,
that. It's
true.
almost like he's got to get the 3 tips to get the
You're right.
blondie,
You're
to
right.
realize that it's not there, and then graduate to the level, another level, right?
Which is
And
why
I
everybody like
am,
perfectly playing their part, right? Jordan Peterson
yes,
is a perfect Jordan Peterson.
yes,
He is
yes.
a perfect Jordan Peterson. You know, it's perfect. Like he
Hmm.
could not be any more perfect of a Jordan Peterson than he is right now.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
understand? He is a
Yeah,
perfect manifestation of God.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
If you're at the
yeah.
level now where you realize, okay, if I'm gonna get a better car, I'm gonna go to Germany. If I'm gonna get better fuel for my consciousness, I'm gonna go east.
Yes,
You
and I
think?
think that is his um like that is his dharma. You know, that's like his, because apparently he's experimented with psychedelics.
He did. He did.
Yeah, so
He's a
it's
Christian.
funny to see that.
He's a Christian.
Huh?
He's a Christian.
He's Christian, yes,
Yeah, yeah.
in ways, and in ways he's not. Like, and he's almost like this like mystic Christian, like a spiritual Christian, I want to say. You know, again, what do the labels mean? You know, but
I'll put it as simply: Jordan Peterson is the man the Western mind needs right now.
yes, yes, exactly,
He's the man the
exactly.
Western mind needs right now. So
Yes, yes, he's almost like Richard Alpert.
yeah,
Sense, you know what I mean?
basically, yeah,
Yeah,
basically, yeah.
yeah.
That,
Richard Alpert just found psychedelics and is bestowing it on the West. He hasn't gone through the whole thing in India and become Ram Dass yet.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. He's the Richard
yeah,
Alpert. Right, right.
yeah,
Yes, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. He's going through the stage. You can think of Jordan Peterson as going through the pre Ram Dass stage.
Hmm.
Richard
Yes,
Alpert stage. Yeah, fair enough. Fair
yeah,
enough. No, fair enough.
yeah. And it's, it's always like, what message are you resonating with more, right? And I'm just realizing, man, by time I am going towards that. But that's not to say that like I couldn't have went from that from the beginning. If I heard that like way back, like
Yeah,
18-year-old me, I would have been like, I don't even understand what you're saying,
yeah.
right? It's
Well,
almost like I had to go through this journey of up and down and cycles, and
well.
then find my way to that, you know?
If we want to go to Vancouver, we've got to pass by Toronto, and then we've got to
Right.
pass by Saskatchewan, and we've got to pass by Winnipeg and Calgary and the Rocky Mountains. If we're going by car, right? If
Yes.
we're going by plane, same thing. We've got to pass by those provinces.
Right. There's checkpoints along the way. You gotta, right? And consciousness is the same way.
Yeah, it's the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool.
Huh?
Cool. Well, I think we should end the podcast now.
Yes.
Been like
Yes.
it's been like I feel
It's
like
been
the flow of the Tao is like sort of now,
easing
descending.
out, and
Yeah,
yes.
it's
Yes.
descending, right? So
Yes.
I wanna pull a George Costanza from Seinfeld. I don't know if you're familiar with Seinfeld. There was an
I
episode
am.
where he figured out that if he leaves on a high, he always leaves the people wanting for more.
Ah.
He goes, right? So I'm gonna pull a George Costanza on you guys today
Right.
before we start to go downhill. Okay, so you guys can want more next time. Uh, Ali, my friend, my dear friend, thank you very much. This has been an
Oh, it's been a
absolute
pleasure, man. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
pleasure, and we will do this more. You are going to be definitely a very recurring guest on the podcast for sure.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you. It would be an honor.
and yeah, before we leave, I want to give a shout out to the Patreons. I can't believe I'm doing this, but we're actually running a podcast and we're giving shout outs to the Patreons. So the Patreons, this podcast is started and will be maintained because of you guys. And thank you very much. I really, really, really appreciate the support. If you would like to buy us a cup of tea, I mean, there's nothing in this right now. But if you want to buy me a cup of tea and buy our guest here, Ali Kanaan, a cup of tea, then you can go do so on Patreon. It's like if you just want to buy us a cup of tea once a month. I'm not telling you to buy me a cup of tea every day, okay? Just once a month, right? You'll be sponsoring one of the, I was drinking bone broth. So, it really depends on what we're drinking. If you would like to sponsor us, then you can do so on Patreon, and this helps us do all that we do. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everyone. Thank you all for listening. God bless you all. Make sure you keep your act together on this cosmic theater on all planes of consciousness. Don't fuck around, okay? Make sure you got your shit together in the physical plane, in the mental plane, in the psychological plane, and in the astral planes, and in all planes. Okay? Play your role, do your dharma in this cosmic theater. Okay? My man Ali, thank you very much for doing your part, for playing your
Pleasure.
part.
My pleasure. And thank you to everybody tuning in.
Yes, thank you. And Alush, I will see you Tuesday.
Yes.
Yes, I'll see you Tuesday. Okay. God bless you all, guys. Thank you, and we'll see you later.
Take care, bro.
Take care.